Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you're all having a great and wonderful day. Well, what we have here is a continuation of the Minneapolis school shooter and what has been happening here. Because apparently, uh, this guy's mother, Robert Westman, Mary Grace Westman, is apparently not cooperating with the cops. So that's great. I wonder why that is, why she would not be cooperating with the cops. Along with, after she was not wanting to cooperate with the cops, her home was essentially raided by the FBI because she's just not cooperating. So there's a lot to get into this. So without further ado, let's go. So here we have here from the New York Post saying Minneapolis school shooter Robin Westman, aka Robert Westman, mother Mary Grace Westman, not cooperating with cops, hires criminal defense attorney. Yeah, I wonder why she was hiring a criminal defense attorney. After all this, right? I mean, it's pretty clear cut. The only other way that you would want to hire a criminal defense attorney in this case is that you might be involved, right? You might actually been the one that has maybe done something with this, huh? Says the mother of the transgender Minneapolis mass shooter Robin is not cooperating with police in the investigation and has hired a criminal defense attorney in the wake of the deadly shooting that killed two young children and injured 18 others. Mary Grace Westman, who worked at an Annunciation Catholic school, which was targeted by the deranged 23-year-old gunman Wednesday morning, has not contacted police nor responded to their attempts to reach her. Minneapolis police announced at a press conference Thursday. We have not been successful in talking to the mother's shooter. Well. I guess that's just a problem, isn't it? It says he provided no further details on the communications, but revealed police executed for 4 search warrants on Wednesday and retrieved hundreds of pieces of evidence, including electronic devices. Mary Grace later retained criminal defense attorney Ryan Gary. She is completely distraught about the situation and has no culpability, but is seeking an attorney to deal with the calls like this. Right. So, I don't think that's the case here because we all know that this person allowed to change this guy's name on the birth certificate, and this is just not okay, right? So, she is probably a very left-leaning liberal person. That is almost guaranteed. And she was probably putting this stuff into this guy's head. So, that being said, she is probably very culpable of the reason why this happened here. He provided no further details on the communications, but revealed police executed 4 search warrants on Wednesday and retrieved hundreds of pieces of data evidence. She is goes on to say the Post has reached out to Gary, who previously worked with controversial NFL player Colin Kaepernick in a lawsuit representing George Floyd protesters, representing rapper Dissingler, who was charged with a decent exposure on an aircraft in 2023, and secured a not guilty verdict for a decorated state trooper wrongly accused of a happy time. So yeah, that's what we have here, right? Which just goes to show that that this guy is more on the left-leaning side than anything, which goes to show that she can't remove herself from these values. Mary Grace signed Robin's legal name change in 2020 from Robert to Robin, an apparent support of his gender identity change, which means you were supporting this, which means you were the cause of this, which also means you were a very left-wing nut individual. I'm pretty sure we're going to find out more as this comes out on how much this woman was a Trump-deranged lunatic, and that passed on to her son, which led to this. So we all know that this was going on. We knew that this guy could regret being trans. So yeah, we have more as well. We have Momenskoff's descent on condo of Minneapolis school shooter's mom after she refused to cooperate with the investigation as eerie previous police visits to her home emerges. This is from the Daily Mail. Federal agents descended on a Florida condo belonging to the mother of transgender school shooter Robin Westman after she refused to cooperate with authorities investigating the deadly attack. Plainclothes FBI agents could be seen in video footage arriving at Mary Grace Westman's Naples, Florida condominium and banging on the door as the windows and shades were shuttered. When they received no answer at the front door, the agents scurried to the back door but had no success there either. The feds were apparently not the only ones looking to speak with Westman on Wednesday in the hours of the mass shooting. Deputy vehicles from the local Collier County Sheriff's Office were seen circling the Berkshire Lakes condominium complex. The federal response to her home came as it was revealed police received disturbing calls from the family's Minneapolis homes years earlier. So, again, what is this common thing that keeps on happening here, right? That keeps on happening here. This is the key thing over here. Here we have police received disturbing calls from the family's Minneapolis home years earlier. What were those phone calls? I am very, very curious on what those phone calls are, because that means that the police knew of this individual beforehand. So are we just not, again, every single time we end up finding out about these school shooters, these mass shooters, these individuals, regardless whether they're trans or not, we end up finding out that the FBI or the police knew something about this prior to this happening, and they just didn't do anything. Like, what are we doing here exactly? Like, we should know to just be able to solve this problem, nip it in the bud, but the cops are like, oh, well, we started disturbing calls. But we're not going to do anything. Like, what is this? Like, what is this exactly? It goes on to say here, it is now believed Mary Grace fled the home on Wednesday. Okay, so that's not good. Why are you fleeing the home? As police in Minneapolis have not been able to speak to her concerning her 23-year-old child's horrific shooting rampage at the Annunciation Catholic Church. So yeah, there was two children that was taken out. And it goes on to say here that we have not been successful in talking to the shooter's mother, etc., etc. Hours later, it emerged that Mary Grace has retained an attorney to represent her out of abundance of caution. I don't believe that. Meanwhile, Naples residents were left shocked as news of Mary Grace's connection to the Minneapolis shooting spread. She's probably cooked. She's probably not going to have a great time at all, because if the residents knew this, then they're really not going to be happy about it. She had worked at the Youngstown School up to her retirement in 2021, etc., etc. So we all know that. She's been talked about quite highly, and she's been very helpful to a lot of neighbors when neighbors were in need. I feel bad. I feel sad that these things happen. And, I felt bad for everyone in Minnesota. So, yeah. This is just the case, right? Back in Minneapolis, local outlets reported that Mary Grace was in disbelief when she learned the child was the killer. As neighbors told the NYPD, they had always seemed like a great family. Right. Because, let me put it this way. A great family does not allow their child to transition as a minor. That just does not happen, because the results like this happens. The kid literally said that he hated and regretted being trans. What does that tell you? This is putting a very bad damper on the trans ideology here of what's been going on with these individuals. It really does, and it's just not good. It also emerged on Thursday that the Westman family has had officers called to their home in Hastings, Minnesota, at least twice before. What is this here? Like, what are we doing? What is this? Twice before. Twice! And they didn't do anything? In January 2018, a police officer in Eagan, Minnesota was dispatched to the family's home over a mental health issue, according to a heavily redacted police report obtained by NBC News. Guys, okay. They should be put on much blame on the police officers and the police department as it is the parents, etc. This is absolutely insanity here. So, he had a mental health issue. We didn't do anything, and he wasn't put in a position where he couldn't hurt people. So instead of actually doing something to prevent this guy from doing this stuff, you guys just let this go? The officer notes in the report that he assisted Mendota Heights with a check welfare on a juvenile. The name of that juvenile and what exactly prompted the police to be summoned to the 3-bedroom home were redacted. Wonder why that would be. I wonder why that would be. Why was this redacted? Now, granted, it could have been because it was a juvenile or a minor. So, to be fair, they're not really allowed to release that type of information, as far as I know, according to the law. But that is crazy that was redacted. And it goes on to say here, police were also dispatched to the Westman's home 2 years prior when they were responding to a report of a criminal offense. A criminal offense? What? Still, Ohio said authorities did not have any information indicating that the school shooter suffered from any type of mental illness that would preclude the individual from obtaining pistols or semi-automatic weapons under Minnesota's red flag law. Well, obviously, your law kind of sucks. I don't like red flag laws in general, but be as it may. The school shooter was the youngest of the 3 children born to Mary Grace and her now ex-husband, Jim, before they got divorced in 2013. There's a lot of stuff coming out here. Years later, Mary Grace was a signatory to the killer's application in 2019 to change from Robert to Robin. In the filing, she wrote that the move was to reflect that the child was identifying as a woman, but according to a former employee, Mary struggled with her child's transition. Okay. She had confided in the employee that Westman was transgender and identified as a girl and admitted, I don't know how I feel about this. I think she was struggling with her Catholic faith. She didn't know how she felt, but it weighed heavily on her. Over the years, Mary had also reported voiced concerns over Westman's behavior at school and social issues. Westman didn't have any friends in 8th grade and was disruptive in class, often being sent to the principal's office, the employee said. In a chilling insight into the mass shooter's mindset, Westman shared a manifesto and a video on YouTube that included cryptic handwritten scrawlings and tributes to other killers. Oh, yeah, that we all know that. So, yeah. So what we got here is that the police knew this prior, right? The police knew prior of what was going on. There was apparently a criminal offense that was allegedly happening here, and this was not being dealt with. It wasn't considered a mental health issue, and they got divorced in 2013, at least the father. So the father did not like how the mother was doing with the transition or what have you. There's a lot of things that are going on here that need to be explained, and this is what needs to happen, right? I think we are going to find out more information coming out with this guy and the mother specifically, because we need to find out why the divorce ended up happening. Because usually what ends up happening with these divorces, when it relates to the guy or husband or what have you, is that the mother, in most cases, is trying to transition their kid, and the husband disagrees with that. And this usually ends up leading to the divorce, and this is the cause. And knowing that women mostly get custody of their child majority of the time, the father probably had nothing to do with this. So we're going to see what comes out here, because this is insanity, and there's a lot more that needs on Earth. I think there's a lot more that has to happen. So guys, that's it for the video. Like, subscribe, share. As always, take care, my friends.